grab some delicious peach pie and stay off my property.
Stay off my property!
Because we finally have a Jack Reacher that's over 5'7". Amazon's Reacher is a throwback to when men didn't cry and action dialogue was just that perfect level of cheesy.
I will ruin your life with one phone call.
I'll end your life with one phone.
So reach for that like and subscribe button, yes, the puns get worse, as we take a deep dive into the ending of Reacher.
I don't give a shit.
Meet Jack Reacher, a 6'5" ex-army major who loves the blues almost as much as he loves kicking ass. He's found himself in Margrave, Georgia, to visit the site where one of his favorite jazz musicians, Blind Blake, died. In fact, if you listen carefully, the song that plays in the very last scene of the season is Blind Blake's Police Dog Blues, which has the line, "All my life I've been a traveling man," which perfectly encapsulates Reacher's character. Reacher believes the world is composed of two types of people who stay in one place and people who wander. He believes he's a wanderer, that it's just part of his nature. This is also why he makes sure to correct people when they call him a vagrant.
For the record, I'm not a vagrant, I'm a hobo.
Vagrants are people with no jobs, while hobos have historically been migratory laborers, and Reacher isn't one to stray away from work, especially if it means taking down the bad guys. This compulsion to constantly move is so strong that he leaves behind love interest Roscoe Conklin at the end of the season. But if he's such a wanderer, what makes him stay in Margrave? At the end of the first episode, Reacher finds out that his brother Joe just happened to be murdered in the same town the night before, prompting him to take on a sort of vigilante justice.
I'm Batman.
What he uncovers is an international criminal organization with crooked cops spanning local, state, and federal levels, an organization his brother was looking to take down, but got him killed in the process. Teaming up with Margrave Detective Finlay and Officer Roscoe Conklin, Reacher finds out that Mayor Teal and beloved multimillionaire businessman Kleiner have been working with a criminal organization in Venezuela to produce millions in counterfeit bills. Throughout the season, Reacher learns that his brother, who was working in the anti-counterfeiting department of the Secret Service, was close to uncovering this scheme. The only thing he didn't have was concrete proof linking those involved with those counterfeit bills. So Reacher takes it upon himself to avenge his brother and put these bad guys away.
I guess I'll find everybody responsible. And kill every last one of them.
And this motivation to do what is right stems from his childhood. Throughout the season, we get flashbacks of Reacher and his brother as kids. Reacher beats up a bully, and when he's forced to apologize, he doesn't go through with it, even though it could cost his father his job. His mother sees this strength in him, wanting him to harness it for good.
You have the strength of 3 boys your age. What will you do with that strength? You're going to do what's right.
Perhaps this was part of his motivation to join the military. Not only would it be following in the footsteps of his father, but it would allow him to do good while remaining congruent with his wandering spirit. But let's get into the real meat and potatoes of what's going on in Margrave. This is Kleiner Sr., and he runs a big company that does everything from manufacturing air conditioners, chemicals, and all sorts of random things. He's found a way to counterfeit US $100 bills, a bill that should be nearly impossible to counterfeit because there's only one entity in the world that has the ability to print the special type of paper the bills are made on. That's the US Mint. Rather than create this paper on their own, why not bleach the ink off a standard $1 bill, then reprint it as a $100 bill? It's a pretty ingenious scheme, but requires a vast amount of poisonous chemicals to work, and those poisonous chemicals need to be disposed of. So Clarin Chemical, a subsidiary of Kleiner Industries, has the brilliant plan of dumping this waste into a river, which alerts an EPA agent. Fearing their scheme in jeopardy, they have this EPA agent killed, and the hitman responsible for this is a former partner of FBI agent Picard who is friends with Detective Finlay. Picard, who's been helping Reacher and the team throughout the season, is actually one of the bad guys.
What kind of cop are you? The kind that goes where the money is.
So Kleiner can't keep spilling toxic waste into the river or else they might get caught again. So what do? Buy a shit ton of cow feed, of course. Cow feed contains something called diatomaceous earth, which when ground up can be used as an effective cleaning agent for chemical waste. This is why Kleiner bought a bunch of cows to cover up the fact he's been buying so much cow feed which contains that special compound. But Reacher still needs hard evidence to link Kleiner with those counterfeit bills. All he has up to this point are theories. stories. This is where Paul Hubble comes in. He was blackmailed into becoming Kleiner's financial accountant, responsible for laundering money and acquiring vast amount of $1 bills from payday loan shops and casinos that could be turned into those counterfeit hundreds. He saw firsthand if he didn't follow what Kleiner said, he and his family could be brutally murdered. While doing the books, Hubble finds out that someone has been skimming money from the top, which he pinpoints to a truck driver responsible for delivering those counterfeit bills named Pete Jobling. We never really see Pete in the show, but Hubble, knowing if Kleiner found out Pete was stealing from him would have him killed, works with Pete and a federal agent to bring Kleiner down in exchange for immunity. And who happens to be that agent? Reacher's brother, Joe. Unfortunately for Joe and Pete, they're killed before they can expose the whole plan, a kill scene which is the very first thing we see in the show. In the second last episode, Reacher uncovers Pete's stash of counterfeit cash, the stuff he stole from Kleiner, which is the evidence they need to link Kleiner to this criminal activity. But Kleiner is dead. Yes, his maniacal son, Kleiner Jr., or KJ for short, killed his own father to protect the business.
See, the old man, he had the brains to create this whole operation, but he never had the guts to do what needed to be done to protect it.
Not only that, it was KJ who killed Reacher's brother. The final episode becomes a giant showdown at the Kleiner chemical factory, the same factory where this counterfeit money is produced. KJ and Mayor Teal have Hubble's wife and children along with Officer Roscoe as hostages, making the assault on this facility by Reacher, ex-comrade Neely, Finlay, and Hubble all the more difficult. What I did like about this final action scene is how every character was given an antagonist to fight. We have Finlay pitted against the man who betrayed him, Roscoe and the mayor, a man who killed her father-like figure, and Reacher versus KJ. It's ironic that the chemical used to take the ink off the dollar bills becomes the chemical that lights KJ on fire and kills him. With the hostages saved and Reacher victorious, in the epilogue we really get to see how our characters have changed over the course of the season. The biggest change is arguably with Finlay, a man who couldn't get over the death of his wife, Sharon. He moved from Boston because everything there reminded him of her. He's a great foil to Reacher, whereas Reacher lets go of people too easily, Finlay can't let go. But at the end of the season, Finlay has found the courage to move on, telling Reacher he's ready to move back to Boston and take care of someone else, a dog he adopts and names Jack after Reacher's first name. Roscoe has also found the strength to take back the town her family built, even joking with Reacher that she may run for mayor. But has Reacher changed? It's rare in writing that we have a protagonist who ends a season of a show the same person than when they started. This is visually represented with Reacher in episode 1 walking by himself on the side of the road, with episode 8 him doing the same thing. If you have such a static protagonist, you have to make sure that character becomes the catalyst for change among the others. This is why Finlay thanks Reacher for his help, saying that he couldn't have moved on without him. And bonus points if you caught the cameo of Jack Reacher author Lee Child in the diner at the end. I actually thought it was Bryan Cranston for a moment. We get a flashback of Reacher visiting his mother on her deathbed. She gives him a Medal of Bravery that belonged to his grandfather from World War II. Reacher will end up burying this medal where his brother died, a symbol of the bravery it took his brother to do what is right.
It takes bravery to do what's right.
Reacher says goodbye to Roscoe. Reacher just isn't a man to be held down. He is a wanderer after all. She gives him a gift of a Clark bar with her phone number on it, a callback to episode 2 where it was one of the luxurious vending machine options at their motel. And finally, we have to talk about the pie, which also happens to be the title of the final episode. Throughout the entire season, it's been a running gag that whenever Reacher orders the peach pie from the diner, he gets called away before he can eat it. Finally, he gets to enjoy it, stating that he's had better. Obviously, he hasn't had my grandma's. And as we're left with no more shirtless Reacher until potential season 2, I now turn it over to you. Was Reacher worth the watch, or should Amazon give it the boot? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.